Let's call this meeting in order and please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All righty, number 3, any citizen desiring to be heard. Mr. Wallace.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to,
If we could, we get you to say your name, please.
yeah, Wallace Owens. I'd like to commend the county commissioners for blacktopping part of Prairie Grove Road from Pine Street to I-35. And so I wrote a letter here of Logan County. This is Wallace Owens, 3374 Sunny Acres Lane, Guthrie, Oklahoma, August 29, 2017. Logan County Commissioners, 312 East Harrison Avenue, Suite 101, Guthrie, Oklahoma. Dear Commissioners, this letter is to commend the Logan County Commissioners for blacktopping Prairie Grove Road from Pine Street to I-35. The residents who live on Prairie Grove and Sunny Acres Lane have unsuccessfully tried to get Prairie Grove blacktop for over 30 years. Through the combined efforts of our $30,000 contribution, this project came to fruition. Those of us who live on Sunny Acres Lane would be elated if our very short road could be graded and recycled asphalt applied. Again, thanks to the commissioners for their diligence and dedicated service in getting this project done. We now ride home with a smile when it rains. Cordially yours, Wallace Owens. I'd like for this to become part of the
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And it was with y'all's effort that project got done. So we certainly appreciate y'all. Any other citizen desiring to be heard?
Yes, I'm Walter Backus. I'm here before the board to see if there's a possible way of eventually putting a bridge across the Cottonwood on Prairie Grove. The old bridge sits to the north on the bank. For the last 25 years it's been washed out. And industrial is the only way around to the other side of the river as far as farming. A number of us have to go around it. If we lose that bridge, then it's going to be a nightmare going either through town, which you can't do now with farm equipment, and 10 miles around the other way. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. And with Indian Meridian going to be building their campus less than a mile from it, there's going to be more traffic in that area, plus probably homes and the like. So I'm not expecting a bridge immediately. I understand that part. That takes a while to go through all the government stuff. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents worth in of putting maybe that on a docket somewhere as a down the line number of years that we could have a bridge across there that
We'll certainly take a look at it and see what we can get done.
Okay.
But just to let you know the time frame, I've been working on one for 17 years and we're just now getting the construction started. So it does take a while to get through the government process.
Yes, but if it never gets put into the process,
Sure,
it never
I
gets
agree.
there.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get that process changed up some, get the money directly to the counties and let us do what we need to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on. Number 4, consideration of possible action on approving minutes for August 15th.
Make the motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Presentation of ACO Safety Awards for no accident claims. David, you want to?
Yes, sir. Brief background. ACO does the awards. The last 5 or 6 years, ACO has changed the award process a few times. When it originally started, it was 5 years as a road district person, 10 years as an office person, basically. They have since changed it. It is 20 years regardless of what you do. The time frame for this was July 1st through June the 30th, basically our county fiscal year. Previous years, ACO has done gift cards and jackets and different things. They don't do that anymore. All it is a certificate in a very nice frame. We were very blessed. We have 4 folks here in the county that have been here a total of 100 years that have not had a reportable accident, which is a huge deal. One of those folks, and I don't see her today, Patty Slater has retired, which you guys know that, but she was employed here on June the 30th. So I'll find her, take it to her house, or we'll track her down, and she'll get her certificate. She had 35 years here with no accident, which is just huge. 25 years for District 3 is Wayne Cutter. You want to come up?
Good job, Wayne.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. The grader operators hadn't had an accident in that many
Yes.
years. That's great. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, well, that could be. Nobody was looking and he hopped up and it was all good. 20 years is Mike Metcalf at the central office. Congratulations, thank you very much. And our last one is Greg Trek from District 2. 20 years. That's a huge deal. Congratulations. And again, you know, you're out in the field all the time. I mean, you guys are always out. And traffic is zooming by you way faster than what you'd like for it to be, but you guys have always done the right thing, and we're very grateful and encourage you to continue to do the right thing. The other thing that we also received, and this was more for we had a claim that dropped off, but the county received a CIF award for most improved, but that was from our accident a few years ago that dropped off, but I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that.
All right.
So,
I think it was given out in like the 3rd grade to kids. Never mind.
yeah, it was in the box with these, so I brought it back and
Being most improved is not
we'll
always a
go
good
from there.
thing.
Yes, I agree, but I did not want to leave that out.
But we did, I would like to mention that the county has done a lot better job. Our claims have gone down quite a bit, and I think Troy can comment on the dollar amounts, but we're talking about millions of dollars in claims that we haven't, that have gone off of our books as far as being our responsibility as far as ACO insurance claims and in our payments to them.
We haven't had any large claims. We had a rough period. We had several very critical and life-changing accidents, and I think that kind of spurred a whole lot more better attention towards what we do and has lowered the claim rates.
Before we move on, the newspaper guy wanted to get a picture. Are y'all all right with that? If y'all don't mind, if y'all will step out, the newspaper guy wants to take your photo. Take your mug shot. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your safety and job. Appreciate it, Greg. Sure, man. Alrighty, number 6, consideration of possible action on accepting bi-monthly report from David Ball.
Highlights of July. Boom. And August. For your reference.
David, I'm surprised you're not down in Texas as much as you travel around.
Well, I am on supposedly I'm on an email list to possibly go if there's a need to continue to send. I was asked about it Monday, and I briefly visited with Monty about it. Then I was asked Tuesday, would you be willing to do Louisiana if the opportunity was there? And so I was told Monday if I was asked to go somewhere, it'd be 7 to 14 days. I think it would be a great experience and could
You got
learn a
a
lot.
few days of vacation?
It would be FEMA reimbursed at some point.
FEMA reimbursed vacation.
At some point.
At 35 years later. That's how they pay all the bridges.
Yes, but I haven't heard anything else. I know we have, from Logan County, there's 4 guys from the Guthrie Fire Department left yesterday morning with their Swiftwater team, but it appears that there's going to be a long-term event.
All right, I'll move that we accept the bi-monthly report from David Ball.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye, all opposed, motion carries. Number 7.
David, you might as well get out there and get your picture taken with those guys too. I mean, you're our safety manager and that.
You really should.
I mean,
We'll skip down past your agenda.
Okay, you will come back to my next 2? Okay.
All right, let's skip down to number 11 for the board. Consideration of possible action on acknowledging the appointment by the Oklahoma State Election Board of Shalene Winscott as Secretary of the Logan County Election Board.
The state election board has appointed Shalene Winscott, who was the assistant secretary under Aaron Dorio, to the position of secretary of the Logan County Election Board. The letter came in August the 15th. I just wanted to put it on here. This board doesn't make the appointment, but this board needed to acknowledge that it was made, and she is operating in that position.
I have a motion.
second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. 12, consideration of possible action on approving detention transportation plan for July 17.
So I'll make a motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, or 13, consideration of possible action on approving resolution for the county road machinery and equipment revolving fund for graders for District 3. I don't know if I'll utilize it, but if you don't go ahead and apply for it, you won't get it, so I went ahead and submitted this. I'll move that we'll approve. Have a
We
motion.
don't have your equipment choices on here, so we need it signed and then we'll complete it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank y'all.
It's like signing a blank check.
Yeah. Just sign right there. Don't hurt. Press hard. All right, let's go back to number 7, consideration of possible action on approving 16 and 17 CEQA reports.
Okay, this is something that the state auditor has us do. I am the middleman in this process, but I worked with Troy, worked with Sherry. To the best of my ability, we received 2 different deals. We have to put on any federal money that we receive from July 1st through June 30th on the CEQA report. And so to the best of my knowledge, we received through my EMPG grant $20,000, which that's on here. And then District 1 received $32,000 and something for the ice storm from November 15, Thanksgiving weekend of November 15. The sheriff's office didn't receive anything that I was aware of.
That check was about 28 years early too.
Yes. But it's something that we'll sign off on, and then I'll email back to the auditor's office later today, and we'll be in compliance on our report.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 8, consideration of possible action on approving 17-18 EMPG grant.
This is through OEM. It's basically the same grant that we've done in years past. One thing on this year's, I don't know how much it's going to be. There's still questions on budget issues, and there was questions on if there are jurisdictions that don't reapply, then there possibly could be some more. If there's more jurisdictions than apply than last year, there could be less. Last year we received $20,000. We had a state conference a couple weeks ago in Norman, and I was trying to get some idea, and nobody knew. They just said if you don't fill it, you won't turn it in, you will get 0. So we'll get something. I just don't know how much that something will be today.
Chairman, I move we approve the
Second.
application.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed?
Thank you.
Ooh. I'm gonna skip number 9, no kidding. Number 9, consideration and possible action on approving update of 18 through 22 Logan County 5-year CIRB plan. Alrighty, let's start with District 1.
Thank you, sir. I've I've asked a lot of questions and done a little research and updated this spreadsheet that was sent out. You can pass that down to Troy. And what I've done here is kind of first of all, I put it in district order, all the projects from a single district, and of course District 1's first, District 2 second, and District 3's third. Not
Well,
last,
that's not
but,
fair.
but third. Not that you're going to get last of the money. This color code that I've got on here, I put where we've got blue is where we've either got STP or ACOG matching funds that have already been applied, and they're on the program for those funds. If something's in red, that's 100% CERB funded. And so as you go down through here, you can kind of look at that. Monty, I thought we had asked, when we get down to yours, I thought we'd asked for one of your bridges to come up this next year because it was shovel ready. And I thought it was Skelton Creek Bridge.
Correct.
And so I moved that over to 18. But anyway, from District 1, as we start here on Simpson Road, that's already being worked actually as we speak. They're out there milling, filling, and should finish with the overlay sometime next week. That took 108,000. Right now it's 108,000 of CERB funds, but we got a $50,000 grant from STP on that. So that's being done right now. The next one, Coltrane Phase 3, the 1 mile from Waterloo to Simmons, that is currently on the ACOG approved list for an 80% match in 2020. That project is shovel ready, and unless this board directs me to take it off of the ACOG list, we need to allocate at least $682,611.75 to it, because that's our 20% match. That $1,800,000 figure off to the right and off the spreadsheet there to the right is a dollar figure that I got from our engineer, that if we decided to go ahead and do that project with just CERB funds, that's the cost that would for a 22-foot road with 4-foot shoulders, asphalt shoulders. That's the same width and dimensions that the rest of the Coltrane project has. That removes the curbs and gutters and that kind of stuff. And it also brings that construction cost down from $3.4 million to $1.8 million.
And just for my knowledge,
Yes,
the
sir.
the match, the 20% match,
Yes.
how are we gonna fund it?
Well, it has to be CERB money.
Sir,
And I'll tell you how I'm willing to pay for that out of my district CERB.
Sharon?
Well, yes. Well, not share, but I've got some projects on here that I'll talk about in just a minute. Okay, so we'll jump down to Phase 2 of Simpson Road. That one's already let. And got a question for our ODOT rep.
Sure.
When we signed this CERB agreement, and welcome, by the way. I appreciate you being here.
Sure.
When we sign the SERB agreements with ODOT, there's a not to exceed figure that's put on those SERB agreements.
On the new agreement, yes, sir.
Yes, sir, on the new agreement. So the one that we signed with you guys with ODOT was for 4.3, not to exceed 4.3 million. The contract was let for 3.77 million.
Okay.
Which number do we use to on our 5-year plan?
Well, your 4.3. You
3.
said 4.3?
Yes, sir.
That's including right of way and utilities.
That's all. That's not to not to
That's
exceed the
including
total
your-
cost
okay.
of
So on your 5-year plan, you're gonna be having it separated out, showing right of way and utilities as 2 different blocks, and then you're also gonna have a construction block. So what were you allocating in there for construction itself?
Well, so the construction contract, that's what it was, is construction. The right-of-way and utilities were allocated for the whole 5 miles before we split it into 3 different projects. The Coltrane project's been around a lot longer than I have, and I mean it was brought into the SERB process by the previous commissioner. And we had to split it into 3 projects because over time at ACOG, every year your project cost estimate has to increase 3% from your initial, right? So it quickly grew from a $5 million project to a $12 million project, and you can only apply for $8 million to ACOG, so you can do the math, and so we had to split that up. So the utilities and right-of-way acquisition is just a little over $3 million for that 5 miles in total. It's never been split out per mile. I mean, we can do that, but I estimate that probably that mile or that 2 miles is going to be somewhere a little over $1.5 million, $1.8 million, something like that for right-of-way and utilities, with given the cost of the 5 miles so far. But I guess for planning purposes is what I'm looking at, right? So the contract was let for $3,777,000, right? 3.77 million. We signed a contract with ODOT not to exceed 4.3 for planning purposes. Which one do we use on our 5-year plan?
On your 5-year plan, so you're saying you've already let the project for
Yes,
construction?
it's going to start in September.
So what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna take the contract amount that they use,
Right,
and you add 6% to it to include for inspection.
right.
That's an average cost for inspection, and that's the number you'll use in your 5-year plan for your construction
Okay,
cost.
that leads me to another question I got about the spreadsheet. Up at the top of the spreadsheet that we were given, there's a project management cost, which I believe is 6% of the annual allocated funds. So if we are going to figure in the 6% per project, especially see how these large projects can tilt the cost.
That number is actually a number that's set aside out of the SERB program to pay the CED.
Okay.
The CED is allowed to absorb, I believe it's $75,000 a year out of the SERB program. Some CEDs don't take it. I know CED 4 doesn't take it, and I don't actually believe that CED 5.
I've billed them before, but we haven't done it in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that it
Yeah,
hadn't
I'm
been
preparing one.
billed into us for the last
So
couple of
that
years.
project management is not necessarily, I don't believe CED5's ever voted to allow that to happen.
Yes, it has.
I don't see, I've never
Okay.
been to one of the meetings where we voted to
It
allow that
hasn't
to
happened for
happen.
the last couple of years at
I
least.
agree, I
So,
agree. So can we scratch that 8.3 million off add that back into our project plan?
It's not
$8,333 a year times 5, whatever that ends up being.
May I
That-
speak?
Anyway, it seems to be some money that we can possibly recover here.
Yeah, what do you got, Carol?
I was directed by the board to put that on the agenda, and it did pass, and I'll be happy to send you the minutes if you'd like to know that they do want to bill for this, because it goes back into the CD, which in turn goes back at your discretion to use on our distribution funds.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, this Coltrane Road project is being 100% funded out of SERB, the phase 2. So we're going to use the 3.77 million or the 4.3.
You use 3.77, and you'll add 6% to it for your inspection costs, for your construction inspection.
Okay.
So that's the number that you'll use for your 5-year plan, because that's about how much that it will actually be encumbering.
Okay. Hang on, I got to do some calculating.
Now, it's at your discretion, but some divisions in CED4, what we do is we include a little bit extra of an allocation in there for change orders in our plan. We go ahead and leave in an additional allocation for the future, just
Well,
so that we know
and
we don't get.
that's what I thought for planning purposes, because that's the agreement we've got with I brought a copy of that here somewhere. If you want to look at it, maybe
That amount in your funding agreement has,
right here.
yeah, that's not something that has to be included on your plan. The amount in your funding agreement is just an expected cost.
Okay, so I'm really confused. So, so if it goes more than 6% of the 3.77, hang on, let me do this calculation.
226,238 for a total of 3,996,886.6.
3,996,886.
96,886. Thereabouts. I rounded up on the 200,000.
No problem. Okay, so instead of the 44,000,003, that's the number that we're gonna need to plan for the Coltrane Road project.
So we gained,
Well, we haven't gained anything yet.
well,
Oh, off that, yes, ma'am.
off of here, we've gained 304,000.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Off, yeah, the total at the bottom, yeah. Okay, so next is Coltrane Phase 1 from Simpson to Seward. That's the 2 miles. That is also on the ACOG 2019 plan. It's been approved, and that's actually at the top of the ACOG 2019 plan. And we're hoping to have another point on that by the end of, by the time it's time to apply again. So unless Norman or Oklahoma City or one of those folks comes in and bumps us off with a project that we haven't seen yet, then I'm rather confident that that's going to get approved. However, in order to do that, to keep it on the 2019 plan, again, we've got to put in 20% match on SERB funds, which is $672,711.30. Okay. Now we get to my bridge projects. I've got 3 bridge projects that are on this SERB plan. Each one of them has, so far, only has engineering costs associated with them. The first one is $57,000, the second one's $56,000, and then $57,000. So it's a little over $160,000 for engineering. But the cost of construction of those is $1.4 million. So what I'm proposing is that these 3 bridges come off the SERB plan, the current 5-year plan, in order to go ahead and fund these other road projects that have to be funded in order to stay on the ACOG plan. So that also, that will give us a little extra money when we start. Those have already been taken off of this spreadsheet. So at the bottom, that puts year one at 160. Again, I've highlighted the color coded these where we have 100% match or 80% match or whatever kind of match, or where we have to use 100% SERB funds. 100% SERB funds is highlighted in red because that all comes off of here. The other thing I wanted to ask about again was the direction that I understand from ODOT was that any program, any plan that's on our SERB 5-year plan has to be physically constrained within that 5 years, which means that it needs to pay for itself in that 5 years. Is that correct? If we put a plan on, we need to have either matching funds in that 5 years, or it has to be 100% SERB funded.
It needs to show how it balances out. Yes, sir.
Within that 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what I thought. That's what I thought as well. Okay, so and I hate to talk about other plans, but Michael, when we get down to yours, I mean, I sat on the ACOG Transportation Committee, and none of your road projects have been approved for any kind of matching funds yet. So, I mean, we just need to look at those, and because there's a lot of them that are going to be real expensive, and if we have to take them all out of SERB funds, I'd ask for you to consider that, sir. Okay. Other than that, that's my 5-year plan, and I'll submit it to the board as I've got it written up there. What I would like to do, though, is to fully fund this Coltrane Phase 3, that 1 mile north of Waterloo to Simmons. And Mike, again, that road is split between the two of us, and I'm already putting in $682,000 of my SERB funds. I'm canceling bridge projects to do that, and if you throw in, you know, some, I think we could come up with enough to do that project.
Well,
Can the 304,000 we gained
Yes,
be
that'll
applied?
Yes, it can. Yeah, but I still need a little more. We still need a little more funds to bring that up to
Right.
$1.8 million to do that.
But I was just, so I'm gonna make a note over here,
Or-
we're gonna add 304.
Or if we only do 11-foot lanes, 22-foot wide road with 3-foot shoulders, which satisfies the county road, then it goes down to $1.5 million, is the way I understand it, right? So but it's only another $300,000 to put an extra foot on each one of those road lanes and an extra foot on the shoulder, and I think that's worth the effort. But we've got two numbers we can work with.
Has ACOG already approved your funding? It's funded?
On that
Coltrane?
1 mile?
It's on the.
And it's got funding
No,
established?
It is on the plan for 2020.
And it's already received the funding for that year?
Nobody
Oh.
receives funding except the year of execution.
And
for
they've already
ACOG.
voted to fund that, though?
Yes,
In 20.
but it has to
That was not my understanding, but I
it
didn't.
has to recompete every year, just like the phase 1 that comes up in 2019 that we'll submit again this year. It has to compete with every other project for 2019 because ACOG only does a 1-year lock-in on their projects.
The reason I'm asking is because I was advised from ODOT, being the administrator, not to put that project on there unless it had
Okay, so you said from ODOT, you admit who?
Shannon Shepherd.
Okay, so Shannon's not here. Is that your understanding? Is that, I mean, I don't want you to get.
I would have to
hot
talk with
water.
Shannon, to be honest with you.
Okay, so we need to talk to Shannon about that. But short of him overriding the director of operations from ODOT that I talked to about this, he said we could do it. Okay,
And who's he?
who's he? I'll give you his name right quick.
why is Shannon sitting up there dictating what we're gonna put on our 5-year plan? That's what I don't get.
Because the legislature appointed them the administration.
Well, then why don't Shannon do this 5-year plan? How come we're?
No, the legislature didn't appoint them to be the administrator of anything. I've got the laws right here if you want to read them.
And who did they appoint?
They didn't appoint anybody. The law said, you go back to the regulations from ODOT on administering the SERB funds. What it says is that ODOT, in coordination with the counties, will accept the 5-year plan. However, ODOT does have the final say on prioritization, right? And the reason ODOT has, you go back to the intent of the law, of legislation, the reason ODOT has the last say on prioritization is where they have to join between 2 counties to make sure that the county highway systems match each other and coordinate each other. There's nothing in there that says that they're responsible for telling the counties how to do that. That's a responsibility of the counties. We do our 5-year plan, and especially in CD5, we do our 5-year plans ourselves. And that's just the way it's going to be, unless he wants to come to one of our Board of Commissioners meetings and tell us that he's going to override us, and then we're going to have to talk about that. Thank you.
All right, you're up, Mike.
All right, well, we've got the 2 miles of Luther Road, and that's still, we don't know if everybody's gotten their money so that we can move go ahead and get the additional funds for moving utilities. So that's kind of where that's at, but we'll be needing that 100,000 in order to be able to do that, then to move those utilities. And then
So Mike, right now, they've got, on your Luther Road project, they've got a construction amount on here of
$3.3 million.
3.4 million.
It's 4.377.
Right.
For the grand total.
So there's
So 3,000,004 is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What we're asking
What you said was you needed to start utilities, but
Yeah, there's 100,000.
But you don't need to do construction right now.
Right, and so that's put off until, what is that, the 19th
Well,
is when that's slated for, I believe.
yeah, and
Okay. And we've gotta get that.
so, but this plan doesn't have anything on here about your utilities as far as I've seen.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
got.
it's already encumbered.
Already encumbered.
All right.
See
And
that?
the estimate is $1.4 million for your utilities. Well, I'm confused on that.
Oh, $1,000,004 is for 6 miles of utilities. All right, originally, this was designed, engineered for 6 miles.
Right, just like that Coltrane is for 5.
As well as the environmentals were done on that, which it appears that time limit's going to.
So those have already been, that's
far
already been
exceeded, and so that 4 miles environmental probably have to be done again. So yes, this is for the 2 miles. At the first mile, there's 2 bridges, so that escalates the cost of that first 2 miles. But moving right away is negligible. So it'll be shovel ready here probably in about a year.
So what it costs to do the environmental for that? Do you know, Carol?
I don't know off the top
All
of my
I know
head.
is that $637,925 was spent on design, and that should have included the environmental, should it not, Brandon?
Yes, it did.
But what, I mean, just a guesstimate, what do you think environmental would cost?
I don't have a guesstimate.
What, 35, 40,000, something like that?
Are you talking about doing it through ODOT as an ODOT NEPA clearance, or are you
Right,
talking about
NEPA
hiring your
clearance.
own? Well, then it's free. ODOT pays for the NEPA clearance.
But ODOT paid something, right, to do it? I mean, it cost ODOT
Yes,
money.
yes.
I mean, that's my problem with this 5-year plan is now, I mean, this environmental ain't gonna be no good, so ODOT's gonna have to spend this money again to do why the hell do we do a 5-year plan for it if we're just wasting money? I mean, we're done. Environmental is 10 years out, that ain't gonna be no good time we do the job. It just don't make no sense.
If I may, that's
Yeah.
that comes down to the big question and argument that everybody has constantly over whether or not the statute was intended for the SERB plan to be split out by county, on county by county allocation. And your divisions each vote on how they want to split that out. Division 3 decides and votes every single year that they want to split it equitably by the county. Donnie Head's division votes every year that they want to consider it one pool and determine priority of projects. That way they can fund an entire project all at once. They can say, look, we've got this 6-mile road ready to go. We're going to fund this whole 6 miles instead of making that county save up for the next 10 years and do it mile by mile. It's entirely on how you and your division decides to do it.
But you agree though, it's kind of a waste of money.
Division 4?
Yes, sir.
So they decided to do it this way.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Okay, so I'd like to leave that intact. Simmons Road from I-35 to Douglas can probably be split up a little bit, but we've got, what, 180 on there for right-of-way. I think that, I don't know if does that include that whole 2.5 miles? I think it does.
I'm trying to find it.
180,000.
28720.
287.
Okay, last project on mine. You're asking what again? The 180,000?
Yeah, that whole, 180,000 is right away, is what we were told on right away that we need. And we've got that down for fiscal year 19. That needs to proceed if there's any way possible.
We could move that up 1 year if we need to.
The actual utility, moving utility, Carol, we were talking about that, we're gonna pick that off.
No, we're gonna leave that on.
Gonna leave that, oh, that's right, you found it.
And I can move the 180 in my plan, on the plan that I've created. It can move back up to year 18 this year if you need to be, because that's where it was moved from, and it won't put us in the hole any differently than what I've got listed.
Okay, so we can get started on that.
If you want to.
This is, I'm just curious, I mean, this is, plan this Simmons Road from I-35 to
Douglas.
Okay. In this 5 years though, there's not any other matching funds or any other way to garner that $3 million in construction costs outside that 5-year plan?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're not looking at
Maybe 6 years down the pipe.
We're not looking at construction, we're looking for preparing for construction.
Okay, so the physically constrained 5-year plan doesn't really mean physically constrained 5-year plan. It means I'm gonna go back to the logic that you tried to use on us about ODOT saying that it couldn't be, my project couldn't be on the plan. I've got money to put on mine to finish it. And you're trying to tell me I can't do it. Well, hang on. He's putting projects on here, and I don't blame him for it. I'd be doing the same thing if I could. But he's adding projects to our 5-year plan that can't be finished in 5 years. We're just starting, we're spending more money doing right-of-ways and utilities for a project we can't finish. A project we can't afford to finish in 5 years. So it's what I was just told by this young man here was that we shouldn't be putting that on our 5-year plan then.
This is 180,250 versus 3.4 million, and that can be funded, this 180 and 250, and that's, if you'll notice throughout the plan, projects keep rolling.
If I could go
Our
back.
5 years continues to roll every year.
Yeah, I understand, sir.
All right.
I understand. So what we're saying, if as a board, if we approve this, then we're taking on that extra money through the next 3 to 5 years to finish these, and we're not able to do any other projects. But I wanted to, while I got the the chair here while I'm talking, I'd like to address what you talked about on the funds. The statute that created SERB funds, which is in Title 69, Section 575. Section B says the funds apportioned pursuant to Section L of this section of 1104 Title 47 Oklahoma statutes shall be in equal amounts to the various transportation districts. They're talking about ODOT transportation districts. It's not split up on SERB. To the various transportation districts. The funds shall be used for the sole purpose of construction or reconstruction of county roads or bridges on the county highway system that are the highest priority as defined by the Transportation Commission. Counties may accumulate annual funding for a period of up to 5 years for a specific project or projects, with such funding being held by the Transportation Commission to the credit of the county projects. Specifically says in the law that's written that they're to be apportioned to the counties for the county projects, not to CEDs for them to decide who gets what. The law says that it goes to the counties. Do we have a disagreement on that?
Law is vague in the way that it is. It doesn't specifically spell out that it is
What
to
I
be
just
divided
read
by
wasn't
77
vague to me
counties.
at all. It's only vague to people that want to make it that way, it seems.
It doesn't specifically say that it's divided out to the 77 counties equitably.
No.
It says that it's divided out to the divisions.
It's
to
divided by the
8
divisions, but
Yes.
each division, it's divided by county in those divisions. So each, I mean, I
We
understand
can't put it on.
the challenge that they have is
I mean, if
each division has not the same number of counties, so a
This
division that
part's-
has 9 counties gets less than a
Yeah.
division.
Eight.
I mean, a county in a division that has 9 counties gets less SERB
Well, we
funds
did it
allocated
once.
to it than a county that is in a division with 7 counties.
Matching and possibly could get an SDP.
A division with 7 counties, each county gets more SERB funds allocated to each one. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not fair. Well, we know that, but we
Never.
deal with that. But it is allocated to the counties. It's not up to ODOT to determine which county our funds go to.
If I'm,
Okay.
And ODOT's not dictating. between
Okay,
each county.
I'm glad you said
We
that
can't
again.
do it.
Reaffirm that again. Thank you.
right, yeah, that's what he's saying. But what, if I'm reading.
I don't know
Marvin
any
right,
of these. We can probably meet in 5 years.
You and Marvin share a model on, what is it, Simpson?
Yeah.
On culture.
Coltrane.
Okay, Coltrane.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding Marvin right, he's gonna knock off one of his bridge projects.
3 of my bridge projects.
So he'll have 600,000 to pay for his half of that Coltrane project. I think he's asking you if you can knock off some projects and come up that, y'all can complete a project this year.
That's shovel ready.
That's sitting there shovel ready.
Has been for a
But
long
I don't
time.
know how you're gonna do it that cheap, because you've gotta have curbs and gutters.
No, we don't have.
Other ones you don't have.
Hang on, Mike. We don't have to have curbs and gutters. Here's the engineer sitting right here. I talked to the ODOT fellows.
So we don't need curbs and gutters.
It's preferred, but not, that's like the center turn lane.
So here's the reason why, Mike.
I didn't hear what he said.
Like the center turn lane, we can take it out, but we'll have to do another.
How do you do that and still get the design exemption that ODOT gave us on that first mile? Are we not going to use any ODOT monies or any CIRB monies on that? I
No,
thought
we're
we already had.
Mike,
We will.
the reason that the 3 lanes were done and the curbs and gutters were done was kind of some flourishes that happened under the auspices of federal grants and meeting federal highway requirements. If we're gonna do it with just SERB funds, we don't have to meet the federal highway requirements. All we have to meet is the county road requirements that is agreed to by ODOT and the counties.
They have agreed to that.
No, there is a set of county road standards that ODOT has published.
Right.
Okay, that's what we have to meet if we only use SERB funds. Under that condition, we can go back to a 2-lane road with the curbs that we not curbs, but the
8-foot shoulder.
8-foot shoulders that we talked about. and do it a lot cheaper. We don't have to do all the federal highway requirement that drove the cost of this thing up. We go back down.
That's per Shannon Shepherd.
That's per, yes, per ODOT.
I don't know. I think I need to talk to Chevy.
I was there when this was first originated,
Right.
and this was a compromise to do 3 lanes. It was
Exactly.
originally designed to do 4 lanes.
Exactly.
And basically, the curb and gutter was there so that we would not have to buy more right-of-way, which would cost us more money. We reduced it down to a turn lane and 2 lanes.
Mhm.
And if you go back in there, you're gonna have to redesign it. It's gonna take several years to do it. And also, you're going to have to buy an enormous amount of right-of-way, which is right on top of people's houses, because they had a lot of trouble with that when they first started this.
Yeah, I agree. So they had a design exemption.
That
they gave us for
is
that
not,
3-lane.
that is not true. That is not true.
Well, I
That-
think you're not true.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I brought the forms here from when it was originally kicked back in 2014 to 2013. It was kicked back because it was only designed for 2 lanes. And they redesigned it and sent it in for 3 lanes, but the 3 lanes wasn't on the long-term plan, whoever's long-term plan that was, but ACOG kicked it back. Now, you can sit here and pontificate about what can and can't be done, but I have talked with the leadership at ODOT about this particular project. And as long as it meets the county highway standards as published by ODOT, and we're not using federal funds, we don't have to comply with any federal regulations. All of the engineering that went to that before had to do with meeting some federal guidelines that may or may not have applied at the time. But it looked good on paper and it spent a lot of money. We don't need to spend a lot of money. We just need to fix this road. And the best way to fix this road is to do a wide 2-lane with shoulders. And ma'am, if you're gonna grin and roll your eyes like that, you can leave, because I don't need you
I didn't
here.
grin, first of all, and I didn't roll my eyes.
I don't ask you for your comments either anymore, all right?
Shame.
So,
Christmas.
now, if you'd like to help do this project, Mike, that's shovel ready, and, I'd ask you to do that. If
All right,
not,
let me visit with ODOT and let's see if that works, because I don't believe you. But regardless.
Well, I'll tell you, I got one that's shovel ready.
indeed.
JP number 28686, over Skeleton Creek, circle number 51, $1.7 million. It's shovel ready. If Mervin's bumping off his 3 bridges that was funded in 18, can we not put my bridge in 18 instead of 20? I would like to get a project done.
If we're doing that, the way I've got 18 lined up, it still leaves us with an excess of $160,000 that year. So I think it works out.
Would you 2 commissioners like me to stay, or would you want me to leave? Because I'm planning on leaving unless you want me to stay.
Well,
Because these are not, this plan, what I'm hearing from Marvin, and excuse me, I don't mean to dispute you and I don't want to dishonor you. However, this is not working. That there are a lot of issues that I don't agree with that he stated, and the plan that is going on there, it won't work. And if you think it will, prove me wrong. Because then ultimately, that will have to be redesigned, Coltrane will, and that was the standards, and your population is growing, and I believe the traffic count on it is like 3,000 and growing. That's gonna become a thoroughfare through there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you reduce it down, it won't be adequate to handle the traffic. And that's what I'm saying.
exactly right.
And if you wanna shut me up, that's fine, but I'll be happy to leave.
Well, you do whatever you want, but I'm telling you, I'm changing my 5-year plan. I don't want my bridge. I got one that's shovel ready right now, and I don't know why we're funding it in 2020. I can get it done in 18. So-
Well, that's not a problem with me. I don't mind switching that around. I don't mind hearing your things,
So,
but when the
if I
facts
need
are
to email
facts.
you, if you want to leave, I mean, you're more than welcome. If you want to stay, you're
No.
more than welcome.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave.
All right. Thank you.
Please feel free to email me or whatever, and if you guys wanna work up a plan, send it to me. That's
I'd
fine.
love to get that paid right now. I have no issue with getting it paid, but I just don't believe your changes in the design are adequate, and I don't think it gets funded. But you think it
Well,
will? that's fine.
I think
I'll go to the source and we'll find out.
the funding comes from us, so,
I understand. From SERP.
yes,
Right.
it's our money.
True.
That's why we're
It's
doing
all
this
our
plan.
money.
Yeah, it's our money.
We're begging for it, you bet. And you read what
So-
you saw in the statute.
So when we talked about redoing the road
Mhm.
from an engineering standpoint,
Sure,
and you sent me the estimates on that,
sure.
that meets the county road standards.
That will meet the county road standards, but I think that will change it from being shovel ready because we will need to completely redesign the road.
Yes.
And so you're
Right.
giving and taking.
So maybe,
And so
I'm,
it can be done, but I don't think in the timeframe that you're wanting it to be done.
in 2020,
And do you have it in 2020?
that's where it's at, 2020.
Yeah, we'd have to look at how long it would take for us to redesign it, and then, you know, we talked about the right-of-way constraints, and should fit in most of that mile, but just coming up to the intersection, we'd have to look at.
So
it
it's
closer.
already designed for a 3-lane road,
Right.
right?
We have,
With that, how wide are shoulders?
with the, I think 2'8" for curb and gutter.
2'8" curb and gutter.
It's-
So a 2-lane road with 4-foot shoulders, I don't understand
It'll fit
the
in
footprint
there.
difference.
We'll have to.
Okay,
66 feet.
Yeah,
So,
it's
so,
just, we'll have to look at the hydraulics, especially at Waterloo. Because
Okay,
it is
I'm-
really tight in there.
I'm with you there,
But
I'm with you there, okay. But it shouldn't take us 2 years to figure that out.
Correct, and if you wanna pursue that, we can redesign it and we can do a 2-lane road through there.
Okay.
We can match up with that. I don't see anything in the standards that says we can't build a road like that.
Okay, so here's the options. We either
Traffic
do
volume.
this. Here's the option. We either do this, we
Reject.
redesign it, or it doesn't ever get done. Because it's not, I mean, I'll be honest, I said on this ACOG board, that mile road, it competes by itself now for federal funding. We're not gonna get federal funds for it. It doesn't score high enough to beat a bicycle path in Edmond. I mean, honestly, it doesn't. So every bicycle path project that comes forward is going to be above it, and all the other projects, we're not going to get federal funds for it. So it'll just sit here, and at some point in time, I mean, we've got several $1 million already invested in that project that's just sitting there.
Well, if you don't have confidence in getting ACOG funding for that project, if you really believe it's gonna keep getting kicked out, we can redesign it to where we can fit it on the 5-year SERP plan.
That's my whole issue with this is that it needs to be redesigned because we're not gonna get it through.
I think SERP would fund that. ODOT would fund that because it meets statute standards, is what they're saying, for that traffic volume.
It is, the traffic volume is increasing substantially in the last few years, and that's something we'd have to look into.
See, Mona,
You pave all that road.
they carved out, before
You're
we
gonna
split
pave that other 2
before we
miles,
split
and
it
then
into
he's gonna try to get that other
3
3 miles
projects,
north of that.
they carved out the 4
And
miles.
as a consequence, you're gonna have huge traffic volume there on Coltrane. All that building up to the south there.
No.
With the new grocery store going in down there and such as that, the Crest, et cetera,
Okay.
you're gonna have a
So,
huge traffic volume.
before we
At least
split-
one turn lane is.
We've got Waterloo
I have a
getting
hard
built
time
up
talking
here in
over
22,
somebody
they're gonna
else.
redo that bridge
Too long.
and they're gonna 3-lane that over to Sooner and redo the entire intersection at Sooner.
Right.
And eventually we're gonna have 3 lanes going over to Coltrane.
Mike,
So with
if
all
I
of this
could-
happening, what we're gonna have is a huge traffic volume there on Coltrane for that 1 mile. And when that happens, we're gonna have to drop back and punt and do it all over again, most likely, or have an awful lot of citizens put at risk. And I don't know, but I really do wanna visit with ODOT about this before we pull any kind of trigger on this.
So Mike, we're not ever gonna get federal funds for this, as far as I can tell. And the reason that I bring that up, I go back to, before we split this into 3 projects, they made us score at ACOG, they made us score this, the first 4 miles, because it was just an overlay. It was a new overlay. That other mile, they made it score separately because it was a different type of road project, right? So you have to score that separately. What happened was, if we would have split these out into 2, we would have already had that 4 miles paid for and done by now. The previous commissioner would have gotten that done. But because it was one project, they averaged the 2 scores together, which brought the whole project down. For example, in 2014, or the 2013-2016 tip scoring for this, that 4 mile scored 27 points, 27.8 points. The 1 mile scored 18.9 points, or 19 points. 19 points isn't enough to get squat, but it was enough to bring the whole project down to the point where it wasn't going to get approved, and it didn't get approved. That's why it fell off the list back in 2013, was because of that scoring of that 1 mile. Now that we've broken those into 3 projects and that 1 mile stands on its own, it still doesn't score much higher than about 20 points. And with a 20-point score, we're not ever going to get anything through that federal funding. So the only option we have is to do it ourselves. If it's going to get done, we're going to do it ourselves. You and I share that road. Most of the constituents that live on that road are in your district. No, that's
That
not,
would use that road.
that most of the constituents that live on that road are in your district.
I'm not interested in the people
You're not
necessarily
okay.
who are living on a road. What I'm looking at is the traffic volume on the road. Traffic volume says everything. I might have 1 house on a road I pay, but if it's got a huge traffic volume, I'm wanting to pave it because it doesn't just affect the people in that 1 mile. It does affect them, don't get me wrong.
It does
And it's
affect them
very much,
if they have
but
to
it
drive that
also
road
affects
every day.
everybody in the other 4 miles as well.
So what I'm saying is, if we're going to get this done, we're going to have to do it with SERB money. And that's the cost. It's either $1.5 million or $1.8 million, depending on how wide the road we want.
Keep that under consideration.
It's not something we need to consider, it's something we need to decide.
Okay, I'll decide. But I'm not gonna decide now without visiting with Shannon
So
Shepherd.
we're not gonna have a 5-year plan today.
Could I make a
Possibly.
suggestion?
Sure.
Would it be possible maybe to go into a recess for a few minutes and see if we could get Mr. Shepherd up here either today or tomorrow, that we could address this item and maybe answer those questions?
I would rather talk to someone else.
Okay.
Well, let's go in
Can't
and
get
let's
the
take
right
a 10
answer from
minute.
him. All right.
Let's take a 10-minute recess. All right,
Corrections.
let's call this meeting back to order. I don't see
What?
no.
Well, my question is,
I was talking.
I'm sorry,
I
I
don't see no
apologize, I
point.
apologize.
I don't see no point of us arguing about this until we get ODOT up here.
I agree.
And I think Marvin wants his representative here. I think you want yours here. So let's just skip past whatever number we're on.
Mr. Chairman, if I might
Sure.
add just a little to that. I did just get off the phone with Mr. Darren Saliba. He's the Director of Operations at ODOT. Very nice guy. He's agreed to arbitrate for us. And what he's agreed to do is to have a meeting up there. And I explained to him the open meeting laws that, 2 or more of us couldn't really show up without being up and discuss county business without it being a commissioners meeting. But if the board will allow, I would be happy to, and he's agreed to have that meeting recorded, to produce a written transcript, or we can produce a written transcript that they would agree to. This is what we talked about, and this is what was decided, and we could take our issues there and get it arbitrated. And he would also have Shannon Shepherd's representatives there as well, and
Okay.
local government, that sort
wondering if we could, just, let's get through this agenda and maybe we can go into recess and them two gentlemen come to our meeting tomorrow. We'll just reconvene tomorrow.
Darren can't come to our meeting tomorrow. He's got other issues. And
What about
we're
Monday?
gonna have to probably push our 5-year agenda, our 5-year plan out to the 15th of next month again.
Well, I hate to do that, but golly, I just,
We can call for a special meeting if he
Yeah,
can make it.
that's what I mean. Well, he won't be able to make it, but by that time, we will have had the meeting that I just talked about. We'll have addressed the issues and we can come back and then finish our 5-year plan.
So,
fine.
can I just, so I'm clear, that the meeting would be at ODOT and you as the
Yes.
county representative? The board or multiple commissioners would not be present? You would be representing the county with ODOT at their
That's
location?
what I'm asking to do,
Okay.
yes.
Are you okay with that, Mike?
you mean not being present, but just having,
We can have a special meeting to meet with them.
that's what I was thinking, but maybe not.
I will ask him about that as well, but,
But I don't see us getting to a point today.
I don't see where we're gonna get to a point in agreement on.
So I don't see why we're gonna sit here and bang our heads on the wall for no reason.
I don't either.
So, are you good? We'll have a special meeting with them, or,
well, if we can get him here to do that, yeah.
I mean, we'll go down there.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
See, now that we probably get done.
Okay, I'm willing.
Yeah. Go
I'm
down
willing to
there,
do it.
have the
All right.
meeting. Figure it out.
If you get a
Let's-
time and date set up,
I'll do
no,
that.
The whole
I will take
issue.
that, I will take that action, Chairman.
Thank you.
Which means you better go too.
Alrighty, no action on number 9. 10, consideration of possible action on approving a program resolution for Bridge Circle number 737 for District 2.
Right.
So now we're gonna have another project to this.
Yeah, it'd be a big project. It's still not gonna be ready for a little while. That's a major collector road, that's a bridge that's going out.
Where are we at?
Number 10.
There's multiple copies.
And,
Let me read one down real quick, Mike.
sure, go for it.
No, you got it, I can't.
There's
Oh,
multiple.
I'm sorry.
You pass them down.
So this is a CIRB project.
I don't, well, there's a possibility there may be funds here on down the pike, yeah. It's either that or gonna be an STP or wherever we can get the bucks from, but this bridge has gotta be replaced.
How big a bridge is it?
What is that, like 80 feet, I think? It's the old WPA bridge, it's been there for 100 years.
Yeah, it doesn't say on there.
No, it doesn't. I believe it's about 80 feet. We've got a scoping on it.
So have you done any engineering or anything?
Yes, the engineering's done on it.
So
We don't have a plan in hand
Have
yet.
you funded the engineering?
You have,
Had to pay for the engineering.
how do you even know? Or sales tax or something. I don't remember exactly which fund it came out of.
Well, let me throw this out there. I built the, I think it was 68-foot bridge out here on, what is it, Westminster? I bought a $10,000 crane and I got $73,000 in the bridge. I mean, you can't even engineer this for $73,000. Anyway,
Well, it's true. It's a little longer on there. There's some other things you might want to add on that. If you want to look at the bridge, that's fine. If we're going to be pursuing any kind of monies whatsoever, it's got to have a JP number, and that's what we're looking for is a JP number so that we can start exploring on that.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. If we have a bridge that's under 80 foot, we can build it county forces cheaper than what you could have it engineered.
Right.
Sorry.
This is
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
You know.
this form has the box check that says county improvement for roads and bridges funded with 100% county improvement for roads and bridges.
Possibility. Possibly. It also has funded with a combination of federal and other funds. under an STP. So there's several avenues that we might want to do if you don't want to try for any future SERV funds. Why?
Well, we don't have any future SERV funds. I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Well, we will have. Time marches on.
In about 10 years.
I thought this was 5 years. Okay.
Well, I don't have a problem with supporting and putting it on there, but I just don't see it getting funded for a while.
Right.
That's my deal.
Yeah, it may be, and it may be, I mean, if you want to come take a look at the bridge, but I don't know that I can pay for it right now.
I mean, we table that until after our SERV discussion with ODOT. Before we add anything else to the SERV.
It's
plan.
up to you. I mean, I'll never vote anything down that one of the commissioners wanting to do unless I think it's, I mean, I think.
Well, we haven't applied for any SERV money whatsoever, okay, for this bridge. I think in the future we will, but I don't know for a fact.
Yeah, well,
Just
my point
depends.
on the whole 5-year plan is we're spending money for engineering, environmentals, and now we're gonna have to do it again because they've been on the list so long, we're gonna have to pay for that again.
Right.
So my thinking is, how can we keep adding projects when we're not even getting projects
Well,
done?
the legislature keeps cutting our money, so do we just want
So we
to
just keep adding projects.
come down and get rid of projects?
If
Which
you
I've
want-
been doing. I got rid of a Char Oak project, I've gotten rid of a bridge project, I've gotten rid of several projects already. And so, do I want to just forget about Simmons, which we've already paid for the engineering on that? Do I want to just forget about the other bridges that I'm really needing to be funded somehow? I mean,
Who made a motion?
Marvin, to table this.
Motion to table, I didn't hear a second, that's my question.
Okay.
Mike said he wasn't gonna second it, so.
Okay,
I
so that
doubt Mike
motion's
was
gonna die?
Sounds like this.
Okay, I make the motion that we get a JP number for this bridge.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I'll abstain.
Abstain. All righty. Now we're gonna jump to 14. Consideration possible action on approving the resolution accepting. If the board don't have a problem with it, I want to add 14 down to 17. They're all the same type of agenda items. Accepting donation for 10 horse for $575 from Jordan Kinchy. 15 would be accepting $580 donation from Paul Spess. 16 is $563 from RAC LLC. And $471 donation from Clint Rayburn.
I move we approve.
Marvin made a motion, Mike seconds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
18 is consideration of possible action on approving an interlocal cooperative agreement bid specifications between the city of Edmond and Logan County to share the cost, established areas of responsibility.
We're kind of backed up here.
Well, getting things done though. All right, I'll slow down, Troy. Marv, you want to talk about culvert agenda item?
Yeah, 18, I sure would. We've been working with the city of Edmond and our Assistant District Attorney Logan Bartow. And Lowe's come up with some really good agreements between the two. That's been sent off to the city. They've got it in front of their city attorney right now. What we're taking, the first step here is if our board approves this, then that approved copy will be sent to the city for their approval as well. And then we'll start the contracting piece. This is a not to exceed, what is it?
150. 150. 150.
Yeah. And so it's really a pretty inexpensive repair that we're gonna do on Waterloo Road between Kelly and Santa Fe. That 1 mile's pretty beat up right now, and
I'll make the motion to accept.
a second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion carries.
Oh, and then also this is being done out of my, okay.
It's just the order.
I had those flagged from where I ran them to Lowell
Oh.
yesterday, and I forgot to move the flags.
I got you, okay.
Actually, it's our sales tax money. We're paying for this out. And, Did you have any luck with Lowell on this? Or did you said
They're
you-
signed.
Okay. Oh, actually, get to the back page. Yeah. Our ADA's already signed this, by the way. I'll be able to sign it.
So are you going to hand deliver those? Do I mail them?
I
Do you
can.
need me to take them?
I can take them, or if you wanna take them,
Doesn't-
I think the hand delivering them will get them there quicker and get the process sped up so we can get the contracting going and.
So if you want to do that, I'll leave those copies when I sort them.
Here's 3 more.
We need them.
I'll run
Yeah,
that back to you.
and I'll keep that one, but they'll send me back one after they sign it.
The board don't have a problem with it, I want to combine 19 through 21. Be consideration and possible action on approving professional service agreements between Logan County Health Department and Keely McGuff, April, Deborah, and Misty Demos. I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Sheriff, you related to April?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Well, she needs a medal, putting that to you all this time.
It goes back to shortly. So she can keep those straight. Thank you, sir.
You ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
22, consideration of possible action on approving prescription agreement with Lexipol for Sheriff's Department. Does this pole y'all slide down there during an emergency or something?
No,
Okay,
no, sir.
all right.
Y'all use it like a fire pole?
No,
Okay.
we're a single-story building.
You've got a basement, don't you? Oh, that's the other one.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion, I'll second.
What is Lexipol?
Lexipol is a company that writes policies for law enforcement in different venues or different types of fire department public service. It's an app that we can use on our phones as well as on our computers. As different court cases come down, they assign new policies to us to review and add into our system. There's the capabilities of doing weekly training bulletins to guys.
On updates?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I get
Yes.
it, I get it.
And it's so time consuming for us to sit down and go over our policies and try to keep up with what the Supreme Court's doing. This company monitors all that and shows us and pushes it to us. It's new to county entities. OMAG spends $500,000 a year for the municipalities to have that. At some point in time, it's our hope that ACO or the Sheriff's Association puts in some of the cost to help the counties do that. I think currently we're at 3 counties that do this. And it's called the High Influencer Program. So we get it free for a year to kind of boast about it and talk about it and kind of a T&E type deal before we actually start investing money in it.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 23, consideration of possible action on approving the following permanent road crossing permits.
Yeah, do those
Yep.
first.
She's getting ahead of herself down here.
All right.
Is your cousin?
Me?
I heard that somewhere before.
I'm the only quiet one here.
Hey, I gotta give him credit.
Sheriff
He didn't
babbles
skip
on.
a beat with your goofy faces. He just kept right on going.
I'm used to it.
He gave me the spiel a while ago on our recess what Lexipol is.
Oh, I see. I just thought you were intuitive.
I was just giving him a hard time.
No, I can't spell that
He's
word.
used to those cameras with the lights flashing.
Yeah.
And when it's on, he's zoned. It's,
You in headlights.
He's on guard. I gave him a hard time, but I do appreciate him letting us use the inmates for trimming trees and patching potholes, and it's really been a good program to help us, so.
They've been doing a good job on the lawn maintenance as well.
Well, if there's ever an issue, please let us know and we'll correct it.
Well, now you can bring it. No, it really is. I mean, like I was telling Murray, I'd like to rig up a flatbed trailer that maybe we can pull around and clean trash up. Just, I think it's a good deal. And I know that most of the inmates enjoy getting out and doing it as well.
Oh, they enjoy going out in the sunlight and
So,
actually helping.
You get them
it'll
2
make
for
a
1?
difference.
2 for 1, yes, sir.
That's good. That cuts your expenses down.
Absolutely.
Quite
It's
a
a
bit.
win-win for everybody.
So, building him out.
So you can kick him later or?
Set him up.
He's all right.
You want action on those?
I'll make the motion.
Nice waiting for Murray to review them. I got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion carries. 24.
Well, I can't say aye until I finish signing on it.
I'll wait.
Now, go ahead. Go ahead. These are all one oaks.
24, consideration of possible action on approving or appointing requisitioning.
Election Board and Coil Fire Department.
Well, normally you say no action on
Make a motion.
Yeah.
Second.
that. I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 25, you got one thing?
I do.
Consideration of possible action on resolution appointing receiving officers for
Coil
various
Fire
accounts.
Department.
And I'm gonna make a little note.
You forget where you wrote it.
Yeah, I will. Actually, I run out of ink.
You need a pen?
I got it right there.
Thank you, sir.
Did you have a motion on this? I move-
Not on the
I'll
receiving.
move we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 26, consideration of possible action on consent agenda items.
Payroll.
We're gonna get through this after all.
Sort of forenoon?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Well,
Transfers.
well said, well said.
Checks.
Dang.
Sure.
Yeah. Six of them.
Holy smoke.
So we're looking at that OC hour beef project, right?
I'll give you a couple more updates.
He's a nice guy.
$2.07.
$2.50. Payment week. Royalty, a whole whopping $17.96.
$2.50. did bring donuts today. You might cut him a little slack.
It's because he gets them free.
I got a receipt for those things. Next time, I'm gonna test the receipt for about the box.
This is the real exciting part of the meeting.
Riveting. It's the best part.
Oh, speaking of exciting parts of your day, how'd a week ago Friday go with your shakedown? Did you find anything that you can talk about?
We found a little bit, nothing like I anticipated.
Well, that's good.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is, they've got plenty of places to hide things on the first one, but we don't have to go easy.
Election board.
Or desire.
Or desire to estimate.
Oh, lines. Yeah, lines over here.
Well, that's good. That means
Utilities for
that
the
the
court
processes
fund,
are
money
working.
signs
You're
there.
not finding that kind of stuff. That's good.
Alcoholic
That took
beverage.
us about 3.5 hours to
Do that shakedown, yeah.
the whole pod.
What we're sucking it up.
Can we get the sheriff to pay this one too?
That's actually money coming back. That-
Oh, okay, never mind.
The court,
Into my account.
the court fund pays a third of the utilities.
Thank you, sir.
Entertain a motion on the consent agenda items.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 27, consideration of possible action on approving the claims for payment for August 2017.
There goes his 30-year, 20-year award to him.
Sure couldn't be my fault. I'll make a motion to approve the claims. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carried. 28, any citizen desire to be heard? Come on, tell me something good.
Street life, you don't weep.
Alrighty, moving on. 29, comments, announcements, questions by the Board of County Commissioners.
The only thing I got is One Oak is getting ready to put a pipeline all the way across the district,
Yeah.
across the county, I should say, District 1, 2.
If Marvin, if you could confirm the time and dates on that, let us know, and we'll call for a special meeting.
Will do. I've got a couple of items. The first is, I think that I recommended our next CED 5 meeting that we at least discuss why Logan County pays $8,333 a year for administration fees for our certified 5-year plan to the CED. It doesn't seem like we're getting a good value for the money there on that one. The other thing was I attended the CED meeting for you. And if I remember correctly, at our last Cert 5-year plan meeting, the manager said that we needed to get that done so they could get that approved at the CED meeting. They don't approve anything at the CED meeting. It wasn't even talked about. And I doubt it gets talked about this next time. I think it's just more of a forwarding operation. They just forward it on to ODOT. Whatever we come up with here that's the way it seems to be working right now. The thing that I got one of the last thing. We've got an underground storage fuel tank that we've been going around with the Corporation Commission on. And it's got an outer tank and 2 inner tanks, one for fuel, one for MoGas, one for diesel, unleaded MoGas. But the outer tank seems to have a leak in it somewhere. And there's a PVC pipe that goes to the outer tank that we have to stick once a month to figure out if it's got any water in it, because it doesn't have a sensor. So it's been taken on water. We had it tested. The guys come out and pulled the vacuum on it. As soon as they shut the pump off, it went to 0 again. So it had a leak, and it pulled another 1/2 inch water while they were doing the vacuum test. So it's got a leak somewhere. So the Corporation Commission has given us until the end of September to do some initial testing, which is to get a contractor to cut concrete out around that plastic, dig down to the tank, figure out if it's leaking around that connection. And if it's not leaking around there, then come the end of September, we're gonna take all the fuel out of that and shut it down. So that's an expense of about $150,000 to remediate. Just want to bring it to the board's attention. I probably, if that happens, will be asking for some help somewhere with some kind of funds to help with that, because that's not in my budget. But we're going to try and get it fixed first, the cheap way.
Hope it works.
Me too. That's all I got, sir.
Mike, got anything?
That was it. At the moment, we got Waterloo, Oklahoma County District 3 is fixing a bad place in Waterloo between Post and Westminster. So we got it shut down yesterday and today. Otherwise, not a whole lot.
Alrighty, number 30, consideration possible action on adjournment.
So moved.